API keys are one of the oldest and most persistent forms of machine authentication. They power SaaS integrations, cloud services, internal APIs, and automation pipelines. But unlike user credentials, API keys do not prompt for a password, they don't trigger MFA, and they don't raise red flags when abused. They just work, and that's the risk. So what are API keys? API keys are static credentials used to authenticate between systems. Think of them as machine passwords, except they rarely expire, they're often overprivileged, and they're easy to mishandle. Some common uses include SaaS integrations like Slack or Salesforce, cloud services like AWS Lambda calling an API, CI/CD pipelines like Jenkins deployments, microservices like internal APIs talking to each other, and so on. If we were to ask ourselves that question, the short answer would be everywhere, and often where they shouldn't. They'd be hard-coded in source code, stored in logs or plain text config files, shared over Slack or email, and buried in third-party integrations. And most of them, usually untracked and unmonitored. Let's talk about the risks that they introduce. They're static and long-lived, which means that once leaked, they're valid until manually revoked. They're often overprivileged, so just one leaked key can often grant full admin access. They're easy to exfiltrate. No login screens, no MFA, they pretty much fly under the radar. So how do we secure our API keys? It starts with enforcing expiration. Never issue indefinite keys, and if you do, apply least privilege. So make sure you limit the scope to specific actions or services. Make sure you use vaults. Store your API keys securely, never in the code. Monitor their usage. Track your API key activity and alert on unusual patterns. Lastly, audit them regularly. Know who owns each key, what it does, and whether it's still in use. So ask yourself the following questions. Where do our API keys live? Do they expire? Are we watching how they're used? If your answers are not clear, it's time to revisit your controls.